This April 12th picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, MLB, NHL, golf, and more. Sign up today. Use the promo code MLB SGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by the premier arbitrage sports betting tool, Avo. Use their tool to bet both sides and lock in a profit. Access their platform for free at arbsversusodds.com. That's ARBSVSODDS.com. Plus, in honour of Masters Week, the Golf Gambling Podcast guys giving away a tailor-made Spider X putter for free. Enter at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Masters. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, April the 11th, and we are here to handicap a full slate of games for Friday night baseball. Absolutely love it. Friday the 12th. We just spent the first 2 minutes of the show talking to ourselves till I hadn't pressed the live button. So if that's a portent of the next hour you've got in stock, it could be an absolute shambles. Joining me, though, for the shambles, I wouldn't have it any other way, is Mr. Dylan Rockford. D-Rock, how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm doing better now, after that little mess up we had, but doing good. Mets 16-4 win. Oh, couldn't be better.
I was going to say, how about those Mets? I mean, we did the show on Tuesday night, didn't we? It did say that they'd found their bats a little bit. Brandon Nimmo had gone, did he go 4 for 4 with a couple of homers early in the week? And Brett Beatty, all of a sudden, Brett Beatty looks like a big league player. 16 hits tonight. Great win. The only problem I've got with that is I've got the Braves in the survivor pool, Dylan, and you have to win half of your games this week. So the sensible thing to do always is to take a team with an even number of games, because if you take 7, they've got to win 4. So if they've only got 6 games, they only need to win 3. But the rainouts killed me. So I need the Braves are now 2-1 down on the week and need to come back over the weekend and take a couple off Miami to get me in front of that one. So the Braves are letting me down. But yeah, Mets are back in front. It's been a bit of a weird night so far. The Mets scored 16 runs. Texas were 1 hit by the Athletics. Do you want to talk me through that? I mean, what's going on there? And then probably one of the most head-scratching teams at the moment in MLB, the Houston Astros, got absolutely shellacked against Kansas City. Kansas City put up 9 runs in the first innings, the majority off Hunter Brown, and ended up winning that game 13-3. So the league is very much still settling down, I would say, Dylan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I took my dog of the day yesterday with Lante with the Royals. They won in the first inning. I don't know what the problem is in Houston. Their pitching hasn't been good. They did have 11 hits, so it's not like they're not putting the ball in play. They're just not getting runners or leaving runners on base. So, have we seen enough to make the statement that the Royals are actually a good team, or is this just a week or two of playing good baseball?
Well, I had the Royals. The Royals were my pick for the division, Dylan, so I don't have to justify them to anybody. I've backed them in 3 or 4 different divisional parlays. I've got them up at 14-1, I think, in various places. And on the pre-season shows, I was quite keen on the Royals. I like the rotation. They've got some upside players, but I really did like, especially in the Central, they were anchored by Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, who were just absolute workhorses. We're going to handicap Michael Wacha again this evening. But him and Lugo are just bomb-proof, absolutely bomb-proof.
Yeah.
And in a central division, in those 2 central divisions, that's just about all it takes. Like, if you can turn up, you might just win by showing up. That's all you have to do. And they've got players that'll turn up every day. And obviously, Bobby Witt's doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Perez, they've got good players. But yeah, I was in on the Royals, so I'm happy to see them going well. The only thing is, I think I parlayed them with the Astros in certain divisions So I'm going to land my 14-1 shot, and it's going to be torpedoed by a even money shot going down kind of thing. But long way to go, Dylan. Long way to go. It's a great week for betting. It's a great weekend for just general sports watching and DGen behaviour. We talked on Tuesday night about the 2 Champions League games that were brilliant. There's been more great action in the Champions League since. Liverpool got shellacked tonight in the Europa League, which I will never get bored of watching. I've got the Masters on the TV. Who's your Masters pick, Dylan?
I took Brooks Koepka and Xander Schauffele outright. It's 14
I've
to
got
1
Brooks
and
as
20
well.
to
I've got
1.
Brooks and Matsuyama for me, and a couple of little DraftKings lineups going as well. I need Rory to. There's a little price boost on one of my locals here, which was Rory to finish top 20 in the first round. They boosted that up to 2 to 1, which was a great bet. And he's just birdied 14 or 15 to get himself up to tied 7. So as long as nothing crazy happens, that looks like a nice cash. But yeah, what a great weekend. There's a great horse racing meeting this weekend. The Grand National meeting is this weekend in the UK, which is it's a 4.5 mile race, Dylan, with 34 runners over the big fences. And it's a great spectacle. I mention this every year on the show. But if you do get a chance to watch that on Saturday, it's around about lunchtime Eastern, maybe 11 a.m. Eastern time. On Saturday, go and watch the Grand National. It's a proper good watch. Loads of thrills and chills.
Isn't the Triple Crown coming up?
First Saturday in May will be the Run for the Roses.
Nice.
The Kentucky Derby. Show is already penciled in with myself and Chase, the Wolf of Oaklawn, with Sean and Ryan over on the mothership. So the first week in May,
let's go.
We'll be giving out our Kentucky Derby picks. So keep an eye out for them. We'll start tomorrow, Friday night action. No baseball for me, unfortunately. 6:40 Eastern first pitch. Now this is already. I've got issues here with the Twins.
Don't we have a Twins and Tigers at 1 o'clock?
Well, that's what I was just right. Okay, that makes more sense. Because the Twins and Tigers, there was 2 rainouts today. The Brewers was rained out. Twins and Tigers was rained out. So we're just everything's just updating here. Because the later game now is Pablo Lopez and Tarek Skubal, but the game I handicapped, and must be the one you did, will be the early game, and that's Joe Ryan against Kenta Maeda. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Dylan. Yeah, so we've got Joe Ryan and the Twins at -105. Kenta Maeda and the Tigers at -125, and a total of 6.5. I don't know if you've seen any total. I haven't seen a 6.5 in an MLB for ages. 2 teams and 2 pitches that are kind of quite hard to read here. Joe Ryan had 2 decent starts, I would say. 3.18 ERA coming off those 2. Only 1 walk, only giving up 1 home run. So there's no reason to suspect anything other than another solid effort here upcoming for Joe Ryan. Kenta Maeda, on the other hand, hasn't been great in his 2 starts. Multi-home runs, multi-walks, and 9 earned in those 2 starts. Minnesota's offense still concerns you. So you want to fade the Tigers' pitcher, but Minnesota have only scored 29 runs in 10 games. Really pretty anemic. And Detroit aren't scoring loads. The total will be low. But I can't play 6.5. I'm not even sure I want to play a 7. I think I've got to take really. Joe Ryan is in a better position. Joe Ryan's a better pitcher. And actually, -105 is a decent price. So I'll take the Twins. I can't split the 2 teams particularly, but the presence of Joe Ryan over Kenta Maeda is enough to swing it in favour of Minnesota for me, Dylan.
Yeah, I see 7 starting to pop up. It did open up at 6.5. I understand the movement. It's going to probably continue to move that way. I like the over here with Kenta Maeda and Joe Ryan. You know, I made my total 8.4. So, I mean, I get why it's low. Both teams have been under teams this season, but 21-mile-an-hour winds blowing out tomorrow afternoon in center field. So I think that's why I'm going to take the over here. I haven't liked what I've seen from Kenta Maeda either. He's given up 3+ runs in both starts. The long ball has been an issue for him as well. He's walking batters, so I just don't trust him. I agree. I think Joe Ryan is the better pitcher, so I'm hoping the Twins can take advantage of this poor start from him. So I think both offenses can contribute. We've seen the Tigers come back before, so the ball's going to carry tomorrow. We're going to see a lot of wins tomorrow. So instead of trusting any side, I think we see some runs. So give me the over 7.
Okay, so Minnesota for me, and Dylan goes with the over. Like you say, you see 7, and you're always tempted to go over. It wouldn't take much, especially with Maeda giving up those
Yeah.
9 earned. Josh joined us in the chat. Josh, how you doing? He wants to know what you did to the New York Mets, Dylan.
They were listening to the pod. We sparked a fire under their ass finally.
They've responded to your criticism. We've got a 6:40 Eastern first pitch here between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Philadelphia Phillies. We have Bailey Falter, who will go for Pittsburgh, and Christopher Sanchez, 2 left-handed pitchers here for the Phillies. Plus 138 for the Pirates, minus 175 for Philadelphia, and a total here is at 9.5.
Yeah, give me the under 9.5. Gonna go with 2 straight totals. I made my total 8.6. So, the Phillies, they've been an under team to start this season. They've gone under this number in 5 straight games, 7-3 towards the under on this season. For whatever reason, this offense just hasn't gotten going, especially the top of the order. They paid Trey Turner $300 million. He hasn't been doing a lot. Kyle Schwarber hasn't really been doing anything. We saw Bryce Harper explode for those 3 home run game the other week. But outside of that, this offense has been quiet. It has only been the first 2 weeks, so I think it'll be better. But for right now, this offense just hasn't been going. Besides Aaron Nola, this pitching has been solid. Aaron Nola hasn't been doing that good, but Zach Wheeler, he's been like Cy Young caliber, actually. So Sanchez on the other side, he's allowed 3 runs in both of his starts, but both games actually managed to stay under the total as well. So Pirates, they've been an under team recently as well. 4 of their last 5 games have gone under. I think the offense for both clubs kind of remain quiet tomorrow, maybe like a 5-2, 6-2 type of game, but I'm going to go under 9.5.
All the same reasons you've given, Dylan, but I'm going to take Pittsburgh. Just again, really as a fade of the Phillies. Now, the slow start, you either worry about it because it's a thing, or do you equate it to what's happened in the last couple of years where they've started slow again and they will come with a wet sail in the second half? Either way, whichever side of that coin you come on, you don't have to take them in this spot tomorrow. You've just mentioned the names, and how long can they keep getting away with Kyle Schwarber only hitting home runs? He hits more home runs than he hits singles. And you can't keep getting away with that. So Pittsburgh, are going to be in just about every game. Their offense has been great. They've got a load of good, fun players, and it's going to take a lot to put them out of a game, and especially against Christopher Sanchez, who's been as unconvincing as Philadelphia. So I think the Pirates behind. I don't mind Bailey Falter at all. I'm happy with him as a competitive option here. So plus 138 for Pittsburgh, I will take. It's a little puppy there, Dylan. As Pete joins us in the chat, Pete Nova. Hey, Pete, how are you? If Josh or Pete or anybody else has got any picks, by all means, shout them up in the chat. I'm happy to take anything on board. Always learning. 6:50 Eastern first pitch. It's a game that's off the board because we have no pitcher for Tampa Bay here, who host the San Francisco Giants. And it will be, is it Keaton Wynn going for San Francisco? I've got Tyler Alexander is the scheduled pitcher here for the Tampa Bay Rays, but unconfirmed. And as a result, no lines. Dylan, you seen any lines here, Giants, Rays?
Refreshing as we speak. Yeah, no lines yet. I think you're right. It should be Tyler Alexander. I'm just not sure yet. But yeah, Kenton Wynn is going for the Giants. But just no lines yet.
5.75 ERA for Keaton Wynn in his 2 starts. So the numbers aren't great, but I still like him. I like his stuff, and his fastball grades out really well. So I think there's better days ahead for Keaton Wynn. There will be some positions this year where I want to bet him. Maybe just not tomorrow. Tyler Alexander's had 2 shockers, if it is him. One of them at Colorado, which you can kind of forgive. But when they come on the back of a bad one against Toronto as well, 9 earned runs in those 2 starts. He's given up 2 homers in both games. Multi walks as well. So nothing really to recommend Tyler Alexander. And everything just screams over. Although the only thing that stymies you is we haven't got a line. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the Rockford lines would come, but if this comes out at 8.5, maybe that would be where I'd be setting it. I'd be happy to take the over there.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay with a day off as well, to get organised for a little home stand. So if the line's anywhere 8.5, 9, I'll be happy to take over with 2 offenses who are going well and 2 pitchers who aren't.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, if Tyler Alexander is going, I'd probably set my line around 8.7, 8.9. So yeah, I agree. If we could get an 8, 8.5, I would take the over. 7-0 towards the over for the Giants on the road. They're both crushing the ball lately. San Francisco a little more inconsistent right now than Tampa Bay, but they're in a lot of high-scoring games. You have 7-1, 5-3, and in Tampa Bay 6-4, 8-6, 7-1. So we're seeing a lot of high-scoring games. I agree. I would take the over depending on what the number is.
Leading McElroy, he's just got a green the size of a football field to aim at and put it in the water by the looks of it. That's not helping me out. Okay. We'll move along once I've told you first about Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports and also the fastest growing app in the industry. We gave out a nice little Champions League winner on Tuesday night. You can play any sport you want. Just pick your players between 2 and 5 of them and go higher or lower on their stat totals. Make up to 100 times your money. So loads of fun to be had. The MLB lines on there are absolutely brilliant. Sign up today with our promo code MLB SGPN and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as the instant pick'em special. Visit underdogfantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Don't forget to register with our promo code MLBSGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or over, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. And while I mentioned Rory McIlroy going in the water, it's a good chance to remind everyone to go and listen to the Golf Gambling podcast. Loads of fun and very shrewd operators over there as well. Giving away a tailor-made Spider X putter this week to honour the Masters. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Masters is the place to go. And you've got until the end of the Masters to enter that. Rory didn't go in the water. It's stuck up on the edge, so that helped. Next up is... do I have to go to the top of the page to look at the Mets? I haven't done that for a while. No, not quite yet. 7:05 Eastern first pitch, the Milwaukee Brewers at the Baltimore Orioles. A second game that's off the board here with Baltimore with a TBD pitcher. Again, looks like, I don't know if they're going to a double header here, because I had DL Hall going initially for Milwaukee. I'm now seeing Freddie Peralta and nothing at all for Baltimore. So from my point of view, Dylan, I'll happily put a line through this one with nothing much to add. You've got anything more on this Brewers-Orioles game?
Should be a good series. I'm excited to see Holliday. He was at 9th in the lineup the other day. Besides that, no, you're right. I saw Freddie Peralta. Now I'm seeing DJ Hall. Now for the Orioles, I really don't know who's going. I saw Tyler Wells. Now he's scratching and says TBD. It's all over the place. So I really don't know who's going for either team. But excited for this series, though. Should be a really good series. Brewers are off to a really good start. Better than I think a lot of people anticipated. They were, they have the 4th best odds for the NL Central. They've been hitting the ball actually relatively better than I think a lot of people expected, especially coming into the season. A lot of people expected the Brewers to, be middle of the pack hitting team. That's what they struggled with all last year, 2 years ago. This year, 4th in batting average, 3rd in slugging. They don't strike out. They steal bases. They're 3rd in the league in stolen bases. They're 3rd in the league in home runs. They're actually hitting the long ball. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see, but you know, Orioles at home are a good team. I'm interested to see how they play on the road. They're 5-1 on the road, but the Orioles are a much different team. So I'm interested to see. This should be a really good series. But as for this game, I can't really give you anything. I don't know who's pitching.
Yeah, I was all right with the Brewers coming in. One of my favourite bets of the year was the Brewers to win 80 games, which was a price of even money. And even the fact that they've got off to an 8-3 start, that's a huge help when it comes down to the end of the
Yeah.
season. Even if they grade out where they were meant to be, the fact that they've got 5 games over 500 so far is going to help me out. Just gives me a little bit of wiggle room if they decide to fall in a hole at any point. But they had some young players who could do stuff, and Jackson Chuyo's been great. But then also Bryce Terang, Sal Frelick, a lot of names with potential upside. So yeah, interesting to see how the Brewers crack on. Next up is, as TVDBJ joins us, he must have heard
He's
the
late.
Brewers bat signals got up in the sky. He heard the Brewers his Brewer senses were tingling, and Trev's joined us. Working. He's working, Trev. We let you off. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
7:07 Eastern first pitch is the Colorado Rockies at the Toronto Blue Jays, where we will have Ryan Feltner goes for the Rockies, and Kevin Gausman will take the ball for the Blue Jays. Plus 175 on the Rockies, minus 225 for Toronto, with a line here of 7.5. Ryan Feltner had an excellent start last time out at the Tampa Bay Rays. Pitched 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, and struck out 10 Rays. Impressive stuff for Feltner. Colorado not got it together on the road yet. Bit of a issue. 1-6 on the road is a worry. And they did lose that game. Felton had a great start, but they still did lose that game. So not going overboard. Kevin Gausman got smashed to smithereens last time. He didn't make it out the second innings against the Yankees. 5 earned runs, 2 homers, without punching anybody out. But he was fine in his first start. He struck out 6 Rays in 4 1/3. The Blue Jays are far, far, far too short here. You can't trust them. They were 1-1 tie last night and lost 6-1 in extras. Gave up 5 runs in the 10th. And Gausman at minus 225 after that last start. You just don't. I'm not inclined to take the Blue Jays at any point here. Equally, I don't really want the Rockies. But I wouldn't mind having a look at a Feltner strikeout prop here. Just in case the books have kind of overlooked what he did last time out. Like I say, struck out 10 last time and pitched fine. The Blue Jays have struck out 103 times in 13 games, which is right in the middle. It's not terrible. It's not great. The 15th in MLB in strikeouts. But Feltner might just have a sweet number. So I'd have a little look at Feltner K props over any line here, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to another total. 3 totals already for me. Give me the over 8. Total seems a little low in my opinion. I made my total a solid 9. I mean, I really don't know what's going on with Kevin Gausman, but he has not looked good in both of his starts. Both of his starts have gone over this number. He couldn't even get out of the first inning in his last start against the Yankees. And even though the Rockies are 3-10, they've been a better hitting team than the Blue Jays. 13th in batting average, 14th in slugging. Blue Jays are 25th in batting average, 22nd in slugging. I don't know. They're very inconsistent. I agree with them. They should not be this big of a favorite. We expected the Rockies to be bad. The Blue Jays, I feel like we always have this conversation year after year. We have high expectations, and they're just a little above average. That's really what they are. So I don't know. I just have a tough time backing the Blue Jays right now. Both teams bottom 10 in bullpen. Rockies actually have the worst bullpen right now. So I think when the game gets over to the bullpen, I think the total's going to get over here. So I think we see a lot of runs in this series. Give me the over 8.
So an over there for Dylan, like that one. Next up, I will remember to go to the top of the page for a 7:10 Eastern first pitch between the 2 best teams in baseball, the Kansas City Royals and the New York Mets. Michael Wacker going for the Royals, and Luis Severino goes for the Mets. It's plus 105 Kansas City, minus 125 New York Mets. Total set at 8. Dylan, you can lead us off with your hometown team.
What a series for the Mets. I mean, can we just acknowledge how good they actually look? Bats finally woke up like we talked about it earlier in the week. 29 runs in 3 games. Pitchings look good. What a time to be a Mets fan, right? I mean, now it's the perfect time to fade him, and that's what I'm gonna do. Give me the Royals plus 105. I actually made them a minus 105 favorite. I think the wrong team is favorite. Severino doesn't deserve to be the favorite. Yes, the Mets have been playing better, but the Royals are actually a good team. The Mets have lost both the Severino starts, and we got a little revenge here spot for Waka going up against his former team, the Mets. He's been lights out. You know, you talked about it earlier in the show, bringing in a guy like Michael Wacha. Seth Lugo just eats up innings. You know, they really focused on their rotation this offseason, and it's really helped Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha. So he's been lights out to start the season. And given the way the Royals have been hitting the ball, they just swept the Houston Astros. I think the wrong team is favored here. Give me the Royals on the money line plus 105.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you, Dylan. I haven't taken a side here, but gun to my head, I would take the Royals. I like Wacker, but really, it's the two offenses. You can't get away from what the two offenses have done this week. And although the Mets are untrustworthy, they have displayed it more than it wasn't just one breakout game. We've said since Monday that they've just looked a little bit sharper. And Kansas City look like they've got runs in them every night, sort of behind Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquantino, all the other players. Nelson Velasquez was a player I gave out last week. In fact, it was Thursday last week, Dylan, when we did the little props, and
Yeah.
Velasquez did get himself a home run that night. So they've got runs all over them, and the eight's just far, far, far too low for teams who had what Mets had. How many hits tonight? Way
16.
near 20 hits. In Kansas City, exactly the same. So I love the over. I love Kansas City as well. But yeah, either one of those should get us there. Next up, back down the page. Whoa, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. The LA Angels at the Boston Red Sox. Left-handed pitcher Reed Detmers is going for the Angels. Unfortunately, Boston are TBD. Not entirely sure what's going on. They may be related to Nick Pivetta going down, sort of sorting their arms out. Maybe someone will be arriving from down below. But no lines for this. My only observation would be Detmers has been great, absolutely
Yeah.
great in 2 starts, the lefty. So I wouldn't put you off backing him at all. But without a Boston pitcher, Dylan, do you have anything on this one?
No, nothing. It might be Tanner Hawk. I don't know if it is. I probably would take the Angels here. Like you said, he has been playing really good. Should be a really windy night tomorrow at Fenway. Got 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. So maybe we see the ball travel a little bit. Both teams average middle of the pack in hitting. Maybe look towards a strikeout prop for Reed Detmers. They're bottom 5, Red Sox bottom 5 in the league in strikeouts. They do strike out a lot. They are 0-2 at home. Both teams coming into the series, losers of 2 straight. One of my bets for the futures is the longest losing streak for the Red Sox, under 6.5 wins. So hopefully they could snap this. Yeah, if Reed Detmers and it's Tanner Hawk, I probably would take the Angels here.
Okay, we'll move on. Once I've told you about Evo, one of our new sponsors here, very happy to have them on board. I love this. I absolutely love this. Evo is the premier sports betting arbitrage tool. So if you're new to ARB sports betting, it's dead easy. You take both sides. You find an ARB. You can take both sides of a game and lock in a profit. Bet both sides of 2 different sports books. Evo scans the sports books, looks for the discrepancies, and then tells you how much money you need to place with each sports book and the expected profit. It's dead easy to use. It's really quick, which is important in ARB sports betting because there's people, very shrewd people, snapping up these prices. And the best part is that Evo is currently free to use without restrictions. That's right, completely free. Get started today at arbsversusodds.com. That's ARBSVSODDS.com. arbsversusodds.com. Okay, next game on the card. 7:10 Eastern between the Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins. Two lefties going here. Max Fried for Atlanta and Trevor Rogers going for Miami. We got any lines? Let's have a look. Minus 222 for the Braves. Plus 160 for the Marlins. Total here is set at 8.5. Fried got rocked last week against Arizona. Arizona can do that to teams. 4 1/3 pitched, 10 hits and 7 earned runs. And there has been tons of runs in his 2 games. There's been 17 and 16 in total in the 2 games that Fried's featured so far. Trevor Rogers has had 2 bang average starts. Both went 5 innings. He gave up 2 earned and 4 earned. I think that's pretty much what Rogers is going to give you. He won't stray far from the mean. Miami did get a little confidence booster last night when they got that win at the Yankees behind, I think it was a 3-run shot from my guy, Jake Berger, early in the game, and they managed to hold on. So what they boosted themselves up to now 2-11 Miami. I think I was hoping that the presence of the 2 names, one name being Miami and one name being Fried, here would keep the total quite low on the books and we could go over. And I think that's about right. 8.5's okay. Because we've got a couple of options here. Obviously, Atlanta could very easily do this by themselves any night of the week. But like we said earlier on about Kevin Gausman, just not really sure about him. Fried could give up a couple as well. So I think runs all round here. And I'm happy to take the over 8.5 to them.
Yeah, there's no way I could take the Braves here at this number. Fried should not be this big of a favorite against anyone. I only made the Braves a minus 180 favorite, so hopefully more money comes in on the Braves so we could get a better number with the Fish because I think they might be live. But Trevor Rogers hasn't been the best, but he's hit better than Max Fried, that's for sure. So until he goes out there and has a good outing and shows me that he's back, I have to fade him, especially early on. So Fried has yet to make it to the 5th inning this season. If the Fish can bring that momentum you talked about in from the Yankees series, I think they could be live, especially early on in the game. Lines aren't out yet, but depending on the number, I might be on the Fish first 5+ a half. I got to continue to fade Max Fried here. So as for your total 8.5, I like it over. I made my total 9.1, so I agree. I do think we'll see some runs here.
Hey, Dylan, little Marlins first 5. Mark Calvaruso joined us. Mark, hey, how you doing? Wants to know what's up with Ronald Acuna. I don't know. I think it's early in the season.
It's early.
Sure, he'll be fine. Need Rory to roll this one in. Oh, dickhead.
Who's leading,
he's
by
put
the
it
way?
in. Sorry?
Who's leading after? I know it's not over, but who's leading so far?
Bryson, of all people.
Oh, wow.
Bryson. Yeah, I know, 7 under. Did he famously said like 3 years ago that it's a par 67 for him because he hit it so far. And then I think he's hit more rounds of 76 or higher than he has anywhere near a 67 since he said that. But he's done it today at 65.
Is Tiger doing good?
Who?
Tiger?
Yeah, he's maybe completed 5 or 6 holes and he's hanging around even par. But yeah, he looks okay. I think it's just a case of Tiger getting tired, maybe. This is an unforgiving course to walk, I think. So as the week goes on, that might get to him. But bear in mind, at all times here, I've got no idea what I'm talking about. So even though I might sound very knowledgeable, it's all complete bollocks. I'm just regurgitating off someone on the telly. 7:10 Eastern first pitch is the New York Yankees and the Cleveland Guardians. We have Clark Schmidt going for New York and Carlos Carrasco for Cleveland. Minus 142 for New York, plus 115 on Cleveland. Total here is set at 8.5. Dylan, you can lead us off with this one.
Yeah, give me the Yankees here on the money line, minus 142. I made them a slight minus 145 favorite. Total seems spot on at 8.5. I set my total at 8.7, so seems about spot on. Maybe a slight lean towards the over, but I do think I do like the Yankees to bounce back here after a tough loss the other night to the Fish. I think Schmidt and Carrasco are basically the same pitcher. Both have had similar starts to the season, but what this game came down for me was the offense, and I just trust the Yankees offense to bounce back here and get to Carrasco. The Guardians are off to a solid start this season, but they aren't playing the toughest competition in all fairness. So, this is going to be a real test for them. But when the pitchers wash each other out, I'm going to take the better lineup in the Yankees. But if the Yankees swarm to over a minus 145 or higher, I'd probably lay off. I think the value would be all gone. But anything under a minus 145, I'll take a small bet on the Yankees.
I was immediately drawn to the over here instinctively, and when I looked around the game and the numbers, nothing put me off that over of 8.5 as well. I like Clark Schmidt. He has been very average so far, but he'll be all right. And the Yankees are legit. I think the Yankees are going to be good this year. You're never really sure what they're going to do, but they seem to have worked it out. So far, so good for the Yankees. I don't trust Carrasco for various reasons on all the various teams we've seen him on, including the Mets down the years. But Cleveland have been playing well in scoring runs. So I thought the over here gave us quite a few different options, because the Yankees could get the majority of these off Carrasco themselves. But equally, Cleveland have been more than competitive. I understand what you're saying about the level of opposition that they've faced. But the bats have been fine. They've got their eye in. Ramirez is playing well. Jimenez, Stephen Kwan. Both Naylors homered last night, I think. First time the two brothers have homered in again. The younger brother, Bo Naylor, walked it off against the White Sox. So, yeah, plenty of runs around both sides here. So the over 8.5 for me in that one.
I went to the Yankee game the other
I was
night.
going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
go on.
and I tell you, guess who got the biggest pop besides Aaron Judge? Guess who got the biggest pop?
Volpe
and Juan Soto. I mean, every time though, and they have been swinging the bat really well, especially Juan Soto. But both of them, when they came up to bat and right next to the bleachers in right field, I mean, they love this guy Juan Soto, and Anthony Volpe. He's a hometown kid, so they love him too. But Yankee games, I will say this hot take: Yankee games are better than Met games. I'll say that.
From what point of view? Just like an overall atmosphere and experience kind of thing.
Atmosphere. It's more of a ballpark. City Field's more for like kids or stuff for the kids to do. Like there's not a lot you could do. It's an old school baseball ballpark, which I personally like better. But you get the Hall of Fame row where you get to see all the Hall of Famers and everything, which is pretty cool if you're into that kind of stuff. But I actually like the Yankees games better than the Mets.
You know me, Dylan. I love the Hall of Fame. What your seats look quite fancy. What were you doing there? Were you on a little work jolly or something?
Oh yeah, they actually were really good seats. They a buddy of mine, his company has like season tickets for partners, and they couldn't go, so we got 2 free tickets. We were like 13 rows from the from Jazz Chisholm and the bench.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they were nice. Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, it did look good. 7:40 Eastern first pitch is the Cincinnati Reds at the Chicago White Sox. Andrew Abbott goes for Cincinnati. Left-handed pitcher Chris Flexen for the White Sox. It's minus 188 on the Reds, plus 145 on the White Sox. Total is at 9.5.
Yeah, for the Reds, this was a tough game to handicap, and I did it the other night with Lante, and it got there. But even though they blew it, I'm gonna take a shot here again with the White Sox plus 1.5. I usually don't do this, but I think we're getting good value here. Minus 108 with the White Sox on the run line. We got there the other night. Like I said, they've actually covered the plus 1.5 in 2 straight games. Let's see if the White Sox can put together a few wins here. They have been playing better, and I used to love backing Chris Flexen back when he was in Seattle. Not the same pitcher, obviously, but once he was, and he's been terrible ever since. But the White Sox just couldn't get him any runs in the past few starts that he's had with the White Sox. So will be an ugly game. Won't win any bets, like you said, but give me the White Sox plus 1.5.
I've come down completely on the opposite side, and part of almost the same reason you've given there, Dylan, is that the White Sox have covered that for the last couple of nights. However, they've been gifted a 5-run lead. They've almost been like before the game started, it's right, okay, you start 5-0 up, and they've managed to scrape home a couple of times. That's not going to happen every game. That's ridiculous. So I'm happy if you take those 5 runs off, they're just going to get humped on the run line every night. So I just went straight back to that. Cincinnati, I love Andrew Abbott as well. Chris Flexen he's been okay, but he's still given up 7 earned runs in 10 and 1/3 pitched. And in his 2 games, he's got exactly 0 runs from the offense, which is more, I think, likely to happen than they get gifted 5 runs in the first. So give me Cincinnati on the run line in that one. 8 Tennyson, the Texas Rangers at the Houston Astros. Dane Dunning for Texas and JP France for Houston. Plus 115 for Texas. Minus 150 or minus 140-ish, actually, for Houston with a total of 9.5. Handicap game this afternoon, Dylan, and then Houston gets shellacked. Texas get 1 hit by Oakland, and everything you know about the world's all messed up again. So how did you handle this one?
Yeah, lines aren't out here, but depending on the number, I might go to the first 5 market again and take the Rangers first 5 plus a half. I only made the Astros a minus 125 favorite. I'm just, like I said earlier, I'm just not sold on the Astros. They just got swept by the Royals. And now having to face the Rangers, who they split the series with last week, and it was a tough series last week against them. Not the best spot for an offense that is struggling. So Rangers have one of the best lineups in the league, and against the Astros, I think they could get a lot of runs here. I don't know. I think they have the better pitcher in Dane Dunning. I think they have the better lineup. I got to take the Rangers here. I think they jump on JP France early on in the game. So it's another situation where I want to take the Rangers in the first 5 plus a half. I think they're live too at home or on the road.
So I handicapped these games this afternoon, obviously before Houston got battered again and before Texas were 1 hit. But the only outcome I had was to take Texas because Houston have been so poor. And Texas haven't until tonight. But I'm not going to let that affect me. The fact that they get 1 hit actually makes me think that they can bounce back a little bit. You do see that a lot. And I've got no problem with Dane Dunning at all over France as a matchup. So I'm seeing a plus 115 on Texas. So I'll happily take Texas to get a silver boot victory here at Houston. 9:40 Eastern first pitch. This is a beauty. The Washington Nationals at the Oakland Athletics. We have Jake Irvin going for Washington. And it's Paul Blackburn Day for Oakland. Plus 110 Washington. Minus 138 the A's. Total of 7.5. I mean, how many days this season are the A's going to be a minus 138 favourite? Over or under 4.5 games, I would have said this season. But it is Paul Blackburn Day. Munaf was all over it last week. 13 scoreless innings so far from Paul Blackburn this season against Detroit and Cleveland. So fairly comparable to Washington. Might be doing Cleveland a disservice there a little bit. But similar enough to think there's no reason why Blackburn won't go this well again. Washington have been quite competitive. What their record is at the moment, actually. 5-7 Washington. Kyle Finnegan's picked up plenty saves for my fantasy team. But Irvin's very, very average. He's got similar lines in his starts, giving up 3 or 4 runs through 5 innings pitched. If both pitchers pitch to form, I'm going to take Oakland. I don't feel great about it, taking Oakland at minus 138. But I think it's a good spot. Relatively low scoring, but I think Oakland can win, Dylan.
Yeah, I agree, Mal. How do we not back Blackburn in this spot? Yeah, I agree. The number's a little wide for my liking, but you mentioned he's been lights out for the A's. They've won both of his starts. He has yet to give up a run against better lineups, I would argue, in Tigers and the Guardians in 13 innings. So look for an out prop for Blackburn as well. He's been able to go 6+ innings in both starts. They're letting him throw anywhere from 82 to 86 pitches. So anything like 15, 16 outs, I'd hit the over on that. I think he goes really well tomorrow. I think we see a low scoring game, but yeah, I agree. I think the A's win here. And to answer your question, when are we going to see this again? I don't know. I think we could count. I think we could count it on one hand.
Although we might see it a couple more times this weekend, maybe, depending on who goes. Josiah Gray was another one who went down. Another pitcher who's gone down. I think one of our pets here on the show. Unfortunately, we've been joined in the chat by one of my favourite people at the minute, Dylan. I'm a little bit obsessed with the Forklift Certified Gambling Podcast. I've been watching his little clips on X. Looks like really good fun and shrewd as well. Loves a nerfy and occasionally a yerfy as well. So go and follow the Forklift Certified Gambling Podcast. You will not regret it. Where are we going now? 3 games left. 9:40 Eastern is the Chicago Cubs at the Seattle Mariners. We have left-handed pitcher Jordan Wicks for the Cubbies. We have Bryce Miller for Seattle. Plus 105 on the Cubs, minus 133 on the Mariners. Total 7.5, Dylan.
Yeah, I was able to get a minus 126, and I'm going to take a chance here with the Mariners here at home on the money line. I only made them a minus 130 favorite, so right now maybe a little the value is kind of all gone there. But, I'm hoping they could take that win against the Blue Jays and carry that over to this series against the Cubs. The bats finally woke up in extra innings. When they're hitting the ball like that, they should be live in every game. The pitching has been there, especially with Bryce Miller. He's looked great in his last start against the Brewers. Strikeouts are high. He's been able to go deep into games. I think this could be a good spot for him. The Mariners have a good bullpen, and I'm not sold on Jordan Wicks just yet. I think this could be a good spot for the Mariners. Come back home, get a nice win against a really good Cubs team. So Mariners just barely, though.
Disagree, Dylan. I'm on the other side, pretty much for all the reasons, the opposite reasons that you gave. I do like Jordan Wicks. I am kind of sold on him. And he's shown a lot of good stuff. In Seattle, well, we said at the top of the season that at the top of the show, the season's still settling down. Seattle have been one of the more reliable teams. And by reliable, I mean they've been doing what we expect them to do. Pitching okay and not hitting much. And they still carry on doing that. Like I say, that 6-1 game last night that they lost was a great example. And I can see this going exactly the same way. They've scored 42 runs in 13 games. 3 and 4 at home. Randy, who's just joined the chat, pointing out that J-Rod is cold. Hey, Randy, how you doing? So, yeah, Chicago is a dog here for me, the Cubbies. Plus 105 behind Jordan Wicks with the Chicago Cubs. Where we going? 9:40 Eastern. First pitch is the penultimate game on the show. I lost my good pen. I don't know where it's gone. I reckon it's gone down the sofa. So I'm using this shit pen. But if I get loads of winners, the shit pen becomes the good pen. The St. Louis Cardinals at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Steven Matz, left-handed pitcher for the Cardinals. And Brandon Fart, hey, for the Diamondbacks. Minus 105 for St. Louis. Minus 125 for Arizona, with a total of 9.5. I like this game. St. Louis and Steven Matz. I mean, I'm still kind of expecting Matz to go wrong. And I know, again, you've seen him a lot as a Mets fan, Dylan, but he's had a good start. 2 earned in his 2 starts so far. So I don't trust him, but I'm happy at this point to just let him go. Brandon Fart was really good against the White Sox, but did get hit hard against the Braves last time out, which is fair enough. But he pitched well, actually. The numbers kind of it got away from him at the end. The numbers belie how he actually pitched. The Diamondbacks are much better at home and scoring plenty of runs. So as much as I don't want to fade Matz just because he's Steven Matz, this is more of a punt on the Diamondbacks. Arizona at minus 125 is a really fair price, but I do like the Arizona team total as well, which I'm guessing is be 4.5, maybe could be up to 5.5. Looking at that total, so either or both of the Diamondbacks team total or just a plain old money line play. I think you're getting the better team with a better pitcher, so we're pretty straightforward, Dylan.
Yeah, I just checked, double checked for you. Team totals aren't out yet, but I agree. I got a minus 118 for the Diamondbacks. Slight lean to them towards at home. Might not get to the window with it because every time I just bet the D-backs, I lose. I just can't get them right for whatever reason. I do agree with you. I think they have the better pitcher. I think they're the better team. They've just been a little inconsistent for me. For me at home, they are a little better. Cardinals have struggled on the road. Bats aren't the issue. It's the pitching and the bullpen for me with the D-backs. But I do think they'll come together in this series. So, like you said, I think we're getting the better team on a discounted rate. Give me the D-backs here, minus 118.
Okay, so a team ride this time on the D-backs. Final game on the card. These two teams feel like they've played each other a lot so far this season. I think the Korea series is still quite fresh in my mind. It's
Yeah.
Cowboy time, 10:10 Eastern first pitch between the San Diego Padres and the LA Dodgers, where Michael King draws the start for San Diego, and it is Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the LA Dodgers. Plus 170 the Padres, minus 225 on the Dodgers. Total is set at 8.5. Yamamoto, his two starts in the USA have been outstanding. Obviously, had that bit of a wobbly one in Korea uh, at the start of the season, but has pitched 10 scoreless now in his two regular season starts. The the little fly in the ointment here is that start in Korea, which was against the Padres and pitched one inning, went for 5 earned runs. I think you just have to trust what you've seen, though. If the two options, you either take what happened in Korea or you take what you've seen since, and it makes a lot more sense to take what you've seen since. King's fine, the Padres are fine, but just like the Dodgers on the run line here, Yamamoto's locked in. The Dodgers will end up 3 or 4 runs ahead by the end of this game. So the LA Dodgers on the run line, Dylan, for me.
Yeah, going to be on the opposite side. Give me the Padres here, plus 180. I was able to get. I only made the Dodgers a minus 165 favorite. Yamamoto, I agree. He has looked much better in his last two starts, but the Padres wrecked him in his first start. Padres have been swinging the bat well. They put up 20 runs in the series against the Cubs. And Michael King, he's looked really good in all three of his starts. The Padres have won all those games. And I think based on pure value, you have to take the Padres here. Maybe down the road, Yamamoto does deserve to be this big of a favorite, but right now, I don't think so. So I'm going to take the Padres here just based on pure value.
Okay, so yeah, the other side of that one as well. We've been about
Yeah,
half and
but
half tonight. To the
that's good.
lockstep in a couple. You what, mate?
No, I said that's good that we're on opposite sides. Usually when we're on the same side, it doesn't go well for us.
Yeah, me and Moon after the show on Tuesday, and we're very much in agreement on far too much stuff. Moonaf hated it. I don't think
I
Moonaf
know.
trusts me even a little bit. He didn't enjoy me liking a lot of his plays. I think he was getting offline and pivoting immediately. Okay. 14, 15 games in the book, as much as we possibly could. Lock and dog, Dylan. Do you want to lead off or would you like me to go first?
Yeah, I'll lead off. And I'll start
Go
with a
on then.
total. I gave out a lot of totals for my lock. Give me the over 7 in that Twins and Tigers game. I'm gonna fade Kenta Maeda big, and not just fading him. We got 21-mile-an-hour winds blowing into center field tomorrow, so it's gonna be a windy day. I think the ball is gonna carry, and both teams. I know Twins. They haven't hit the ball well, but I'm hoping that win against the Dodgers could kind of catapult them into this series against the Tigers. Tigers will be able to score some runs. I think Twins could help just a little. So gonna go over 7 as my lock, and as my dog. I was gonna take the Padres. Let's take the Royals. Plus 105. Perfect time to fade the Mets. When everything's going well, that's when you fade the Mets because everything's gonna come crashing down. I want to fade Severino here. I think Michael Walker is just a much better pitcher. Their bats are better. They're just a better team flat out. So I'm going to take the Royals. I think the wrong team is favorite. So give me the Royals as my dog plus 105.
Yeah, I do like the Royals there, Dylan. My team plays, my lock is going to be Cincinnati on the run line over the White Sox. because you have to take off those 5 runs. You can't give them a 5-run head start every night. So we knock those 5 runs off, and Cincinnati win easy. So Cincy on the run line. For my dog, I've got a few teeny tiny puppies here. I like Kansas City. I like the Cubs, both at +105. But I'll go for a little bit of a bigger one. Right back to the top of the show in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh to win at Philadelphia. Philadelphia aren't blowing anybody's skirt up at the moment. And Pittsburgh are live, they're fun. And Bailey Falter's serviceable, as serviceable as his opposition in this game, Christopher Sanchez. So +135 looks like a fair price to me on Pittsburgh. And I think, D-Rock, we have done it. Is there anything else you want to tell the people before we let them go?
No, I think I might go to the Baltimore game tomorrow. I'm heading down to Baltimore for the weekend. Huge UFC card this weekend, kid. But yeah, other than that, I think we're only like 25 subscribes away from 1,000. So if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscription button.
I think if you get there nice and early tomorrow, Dylan, you'll get a Jackson Holliday T-shirt, his first homestand.
Oh, let's go!
So get in there. Yes, who doesn't love a free T-shirt? I'll point you towards the Premier League gambling podcasts. Premier League is hitting its the 6 games left running time, so lots of stuff up for grabs. So me and Baz over there giving out plenty winners and plenty losers. However, we do it with a smile on our face, so who cares? But apart from that, like Dylan says, like, rate, review, all of those things. Thanks everyone who joined in the chat. Trev, Randy, the Forklift Certified Gambling Podcast. Mark was in earlier on as well. Mark Calvaruso. Josh was first up. So we appreciate all of that. Join us again. I'm back tomorrow night. We're doing a Friday night show, honestly. Me and Scott will be back tomorrow to have a look at Saturday's game. So yeah, join us then. Good luck with your picks. Enjoy the golf as well. Until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.